This is called holding on to your innocence.
I once read on a fridge magnet, I'm not an alcoholic. Alcoholics go to meetings. I'm a drunk. We go to parties. I'd like to think that if Catcher in the Rye had continued into Holden Caulfield's adulthood, that little asshole would have said something similar. Because J.D. Salinger made a point in that novel that growing up sucks, no matter what era. Holden Caulfield was created with every teenager in mind, confused, drifting, self-absorbed, and scared out of his wits. Of course, not every teenager is an upper-class white kid suffering through an identity crisis. But those steel buildings and foggy alleyways filled with underlying vice were created as the place for Holden to get lost in. And his red hunting cap of individuality is like a red pin on Google Maps for us to follow through his labyrinth of right angles. Because what worse place than the grid of New York City for someone like Holden to try and hug tight to his brand of phoniness? But Holden wasn't meant to be Peter Pan, or even a lost boy. He was kicked off that cliff by death and is stuck chasing his brother's ghost across that half-frozen pond in Central Park with a left-handed catching mitt covered in poems, as green as Allie had been when he was buried when he was buried with the rest of his skeletons in Holden's closet. And, like all teenagers, no matter where Holden goes, he wants to get away. Away to where? New York City, the only thing that sleeps less than Holden does. The park, where the fish are stuck forever, but the ducks... Oh, the ducks fly away with the good weather, sailing on sunbeams into their bright South American future, leaving Holden behind. The museum, where nothing changes, for the better or the worse. It's safe in there, because what's the outside world besides waiting for things to change? But the dust on the Eskimo's coat is a different layer than the layer that had settled last time you were there, and the preserved Egyptian king's bones are probably a little more rotten than before. And you probably have that adult tooth growing in, when last time the popcorn kernels from the movie theater cut up your bloody empty gums. Because right now, Holden is that bloody empty gum. Life took a wrench and pulled out his baby teeth in rapid succession, and now every time Holden goes to steadily wiggle one out, he is shockingly reminded that it is already gone, and he's too ill-equipped to chew the solid food being shoved down his throat. At least he has sense enough to realize and admit that the windows in his garage, the little Shirley Beans record, and his schooling were shattered because he just couldn't handle his shit. At the same time, though, is it really his fault? Because as much as he may wish it, his family isn't a flock of ducks. His parents keep trying to push him out of their rye nest too soon, and every time Holden falls back into them, they send him off again. And it's debatable whether or not Holden even has wings. Or maybe he just isn't flapping hard enough, or flapping at all for that matter. Because let's face it, someone who hates cars that much probably isn't aching to go anywhere. And really, someone who hates movies that much probably doesn't need a place to escape to. Holden, though, he's the phoniest phony to ever step into this phony city. How could you trust a single word he said? He told us in the beginning that he's a terrific liar, and we see him time and time again lie about nearly everything to everyone. I don't know about you, but I want to hear about the childlike prostitute who only took what she thought she was owed. I want to hear about the school-teaching nun aching for Romeo's touch, but settling with an untangible gods because something in her childhood led her to. I already know Holden's story because I am an upper-class white kid suffering through an identity crisis. Of course, not all of us had a little brother that died of leukemia.